over time, the energy of the body moves from being like around the body to in the body. And this is the breath that helps you get that. Then slowly, slowly, everything starts to change. So we've already discussed how the bandhas, this is one of the bandhas, starts to take your attention inwards. When you start to work with the Uddiyana, how your attention is naturally going to be starting to turn inwards, because internal things will start to become more apparent to you. And then over time, what happens is, when you breathe normally, the breath will not be peripheral. It will stay internal. And then slowly, slowly, as you move along, you may forget that your breath is internal, but it is. And you only realize that it's internal when a life event happens and your breath all of a sudden is no longer internal. And it's at that point that you realize how it was. And also what that teaches you is that you can only stay inward when your external life is not pulling you all over the place. So things like divorce, things like moving house, things like too much work, stress from external situations, that breath will have to be released and you'll have to be outside. Yeah? And also on the emotional level, you cannot force the Uddiyana. So if any of those things are going on, you don't force it, because then you're going to create like a disjunction. Yeah? Because you're trying to do an internal practice, but you're needed outside. And that's not going to be good. But what's interesting is that you start to observe it. So you may think that you've overcome, let's say there was an emotional turbulence going on and you've adjusted externally, but then all of a sudden the breath doesn't want to be back. It has to stay out. That is telling you that your emotional layer still is feeling the turbulence and it's not necessarily in your conscious awareness. So this is the way that you have to start to listen to these signs. Use the signs to tell you what's going on in your life rather than ignoring them and pushing through, because that will just cause more problems down the line.